Hello. Welcome to the Tutors of Life podcast, where we research life so you don't have to. Episode 305. This is your host, Shaun Tutor.
And this is Sam. And this is a tutor episode where we try to teach you something new.
Sick.
Mm-hmm.
What's up?
It's a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
How about you?
Sunday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to bed.
Yep. I'm so exhausted.
Been sleeping a lot.
Yep.
Cool.
What are we tutoring about?
So I went and started the process of building an AR with a guy this weekend. And we're going to look at applying for or getting some silencers for some of my guns too. Suppressors, which would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, we went there. Guy's like, well, building. He's like, do you have any idea what you're interested in building? And I'm like, no, dude, here's the deal. I know what I want to spend. I know a couple of the things I like, things I want to focus on. And you tell me what's best for that price. Perfect. Went over some shit. And so he's going to get some parts in for that, and we're going to start building it.
Nice.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, for sure. But I didn't even attempt to act. I didn't even attempt to go figure out what I think I want. Because I'm just like, dude, you build these for a living.
Like, you know what's going to be best.
You know what's best. What do you think? And so anyways, yeah, it was kind of cool there. And there's a couple other, things looking at getting a red dot for my SIG as well, and then some stuff for my FN 509, which is pretty cool. Anyways, it made me think about bucket savings. And most people probably don't do that.
No. I remember back in... Sorry, got distracted by Mimi. I remember back in high school when we had to take that personal finance class.
Yeah.
There, they taught us how, like, every month or every paycheck, we should have, like, envelopes for certain things. So, like, you should have a car one. If you're renting, you didn't need one, but, like, a house one and just an overall emergency one.
Right.
You should put $20 every paycheck in those envelopes because you never know what's going to happen. Because if you have some type of something goes wrong with your car, you can just use the envelope of money. And that was the only thing I was ever told about buckets of saving.
Makes sense.
Similar. That was also back 15 years ago. So
very similar. So here's what it is. Do we want to just get into it? Want to go?
Yeah, go.
Yeah. Before we can do bucket savings, there's some things we need to do. Okay? Pretty obvious.
Yeah.
3 main things. We need to review our expenses. We need to review our income. We need to review our debts. And so look at how much you're making. And is it consistent? Are you get consistent hours? Are you salary? Whatever. Do you get bonuses? Things like that. So look at your income. Look at your expenses. Most likely, it's higher than what your income is. It's typically how it is for most people. Hopefully for you, it's not. Look at that. If it's lower, kudos. If your expenses are higher than your income, you need to look at what you can delete. This is a this is as simple as a concept as possible. You need to spend less money than you make.
Easy.
It's the simplest concept ever. So whatever's in your expense column that is causing you to be negative every month, you need to fucking delete things until that number is green and not red.
And some of the things too, you may need to just like find a different provider or Because like right now we're paying $100 a month for just internet for our house, which is ridiculous.
Yep.
So we can either one cancel our service for a day and sign back up for Spectrum for $50 again, or we may switch providers. And so there's quite a few things that we could do that with, because that's one of them. And then, our phones, our regular phones, just got outrageously expensive in the past couple months. And so that's something else where we're like, well, we already own our phone, so we could go to a different phone company and just pay for a phone line.
Right.
So, yeah. So you don't have to exactly think about deleting things, but you can think about cutting costs by switching providers or whatever.
Yep. I like it. And so once you figure that out and you figure out how you are in the green, maybe you had to sell a car and get a cheaper car. Maybe you need to find a different place to live, whatever.
Maybe you had to get rid of your 10 streaming services.
You might have had to get rid of your 10 streaming services, quit watching TV 5 hours a night, and do something more productive with that time.
Like read.
Yeah, or learn a new skill, which could be part of reading. Get fucked. All right, so then next, we're reviewing our debts. Okay? We're in the green finally month to month. Let's review our debts. Okay, you got some credit card debt. Maybe you got student loans because Joe Biden didn't actually forgive them. Maybe you got a mortgage. Maybe you got a car loan. Maybe you got a home equity line. Whatever. You know, most likely, almost everybody's got debt. I think over 80% of the population has debt.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna look at deleting that. We got to get rid of the debt. I don't think you got to pay off your mortgage personally. That's up to you if you think you need to pay off your mortgage. That's up to you. I do like the idea of it, but I also know, like, bang for buck, it doesn't make much sense.
I would say, like, chip away at it if you have no other debts, you have a very healthy savings fund, and then you're just like, I'll just put more on my mortgage.
Dude, definitely, especially if you have a higher interest rate. If you can look at it and you go, okay, I got a 7% interest rate, 6% interest, whatever, and, like, I can put an extra, you know, X, $500 a month on it and pay it off in 8 years instead of 30. All right, dude, go for gold. Whatever.
I don't know how true this is or, like, how accurate the dates are, but I saw on Instagram someone talked about how her parents paid off their house faster, and all they did was do one additional payment a year, like full payment.
Interesting.
And so that cut their mortgage down from 30 years to 17. So you got to think that's straight principal.
That has to be based on interest rate.
Possibly, yeah. Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Big time.
But still, I mean, who knows? I mean, it could cut you down quite a bit by just doing one extra payment.
Absolutely. Love it. So, we're paying off our debts. That's the first thing we're doing. We're taking all of the money. So, like, you look, so this is how it goes. You pay yourself first. So, if you go, you look at your expenses, you go through your budget, you go, okay, I make $2,500 a month. It costs me $2,000 a month to live. Okay, obviously, guys, these numbers are kind of lower, but just bear with me. Okay, take and put that $2,500, take and pay yourself $500 every month right up front so that you cannot spend that. Pay that into your savings account. And then the other $2,000 whatever goes and comes out and gets paid whatever. I always do percentage based, but you know, whatever percentage I like because my income fluctuates. So it's always for me 20%, but whatever. So you pay yourself first, and that's going to go down to paying your debt. And that's all you're going to worry about until your debt's paid down, until you're left with just your mortgage, I think, personally, whatever. Okay? Then you're going to want some savings.
Yeah.
Because we're going to need some savings. We're going to need some savings for emergencies. Need some savings if you got a car. You might need repairs or replacement. Maybe you got a house. Might need repairs or you know, hopefully not replacement for a while, but repairs. You know, hospital, healthcare, all that shit, right? So those things now we're going to save up. We're going to start saving up. This is where the bucket starts to come in. This is where the bucket theory starts to come in.
So you've paid off all your debts but your mortgage.
Paid off all your debts but your mortgage.
Got it.
Now we're saving. Okay. We got to get our emergency fund, but whatever it is, roughly 3 months of income is what you want your 3 to 6 months of income is what you want your emergency fund to, right?
Of income or expenses?
Expenses. Sorry, 3 to 6 months of expenses is what you want your
savings to be.
Emergency fund to be. This is where we now start bucketing. We've saved that up. We have our emergency fund. Now we bucket. So, always, no matter what, once you've reached this point in your journey, at a minimum, no matter where or what or anything in the world, 10% will be going into a savings or investment account for investing for your future. No matter what. At a minimum, always 10%. I do not care. At a minimum, 10%. And then with whatever you have excess, maybe it's another 10%, another 20%, whatever, those things start to get bucketed. You know, we're starting to save for a new car, saving for repairs on the house, whatever. But then the more fun bucketing becomes. Saving to build an AR, putting money in there every month. Saving for a paycheck. I split up my money always paycheck-wise. Maybe you want to buy a sports car. Maybe you want to go on a vacation. Whatever it is, now that is when you start bucketing your money and saving it in those like categories for that. Putting it in an envelope with cash or a different savings account or putting it into a savings account but checking on an Excel spreadsheet. Whatever it is, that's where you start to like what do you call it? Account money for different things. Apply money for different things.
Like categorizing? Or what do you mean?
Categorizing isn't the word, but it's a word. Just like giving it a home. What's that called? Giving it damn, dude, you're zero help.
Yeah, I'm not
zero fucking.
Usually I can tell what he's trying to.
You're not. Yeah.
I got nothing today.
Anyways, you're fucking giving this thing. You're putting a purpose to it.
To the money.
To the money.
Okay.
You know, and I believe that's like the only way to not go back into debt. You know.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna want something, right? Like I've got a car fund, and I want a car, but I have a budget, and I can't go over that. So like, I know how much I can spend on a car. Now, if I can be patient and keep building that, I can get a nicer car or more cars.
Yeah.
But that's all I can spend on a car, right?
Is what's in that fund.
Is what's in the fund. Same thing with like my guns and shit. Is like, I've sold stuff around the house to stack up funds to buy rounds, guns, arrows for my bow, shit like that, right? Like shit that is like I enjoy doing. That stuff, like selling stuff around the house, getting cash, whatever, that all goes towards that. And I can only spend that much.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's for. And so, if you're not doing this, you're going to want that thing, right? You're going to want the vacation. And you haven't been saving for a vacation, but you want the vacation because you haven't had one in 3 years because you actually ran through the plan and got paid off your debt and all this shit. And so now you're debt free and you go, well, I'm going to just fucking go on the vacation, but you haven't budgeted and put the money in the bucket. So now you go spend $5,000 on a vacation when you only had $1,000.
And then guess what? You're back $4,000 in debt.
Yeah, so you either paid it with a credit card because you dumb, or you're fucking pulled it out of your emergency fund or whatever. Dude, so many times I know people that pull money out of the emergency fund for not emergencies, for a vacation, for a fucking shit around the house, a new vehicle, whatever. It's like, no. That's emergencies.
Yeah.
And people will just buy shit that they're like, I saved up this money, my emergency fund. I don't have any, like, what do I need this much in my emergency fund for? I'll just fucking whatever, and then you get cancer next week.
Yeah, right.
So anyways, I do things based on buckets. You guys might think that's stupid, whatever. Maybe your method works better for me. Let me know if you got better methods. But I think for the general population, if they don't have the general population, including myself, dude, if you do not have guide rails, you're going to go off track.
Mm-hmm. And we've put in like extra guide rails we use Ally savings account. So one, we get 4.5% on the money that sits in there. So that's cool. But two, it takes a minimum of 3 days for us to get that money into our regular bank account. So we have to think, like, if we want something, we have to think about it for 3 days before we can even get the money to buy it.
Right.
So that is the extra guardrails we have put in place. And I highly suggest it. Getting an Ally savings account is super easy.
Ally or Robinhood.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. They're super easy.
Super easy, beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And those ones, too, you can name. So we actually have 3 different Ally accounts. And we have a name for each one of them. So then we can put money in and split it up where we need it to go.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's the only way.
Yeah.
Personally, I just, for myself at least.
We're such a materialistic population that we just need extra protections to not spend money on stupid stuff.
100%. Mm-hmm. 100%. And I would say another big thing is credit cards. I use credit cards, and I have thought about getting rid of them because I don't like them.
Yeah.
Because they give you a false sense of what you actually have or need.
Yeah.
So, like, if I want a new pair of shoes, I just swipe the credit card because I just know that my income's going to cover it. Mm-hmm. Whatever, typically. But, like, maybe I got to bust into my income for next month to pay for it, right? Where, like, if you use a debit card or cash, if you ain't got it, you can't buy it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I love, like, I understand you get your fucking 1.5% back on your credit card, but what up?
Sorry, do you have your...
Sure.
Keep going.
You get your 1.5%, back on your credit card, but I actually think that's a hindrance on you because it gives you a false sense of what you actually have. Where if everything you did was out of your debit card or out of cash, you will not spend money on the dumb, frivolous shit because you don't actually have said money to spend on the dumb, frivolous shit. So take that for what that is. That is a cute puppers with a scrunchy face. Yeah, what do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I agree. You can even... A lot of... All this stuff that's... I'm sure you're all, like, looking at our background like, wow, they spend a lot of money on stupid stuff. But when you look at this...
Maybe
like,
you think it's stupid.
I don't think it's stupid. They're my pride and joy. At some point, I do need to move the shelf to the office, too. But anyways. All of this stuff, I mean, I spent it with either my... Because, like, I have my 10%, which goes to, like, Lego investing or Pokemon card investing or whatever. Most of the time, it just sits on my account until whenever.
Yeah.
But, like, this, so I either spent that on this or my... we have, like, $100 allowances every week. And so where I spent that on this. But pretty much everything behind me, I did not buy full price.
Right. Yep. Bargain shopping.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, we get a little allowance each week to do whatever we want with. Typically, I spend mine always on food.
Mm-hmm. And then I spend mine on food because Shaun spends all of his, and he says, hey, babe, can you buy?
Yeah, so it's kind of an issue.
Mm-hmm. 75 hard was just pure bliss for me.
I'm going to be honest with you, dude, when we did 75 hard, the amount of money I saved.
The amount of money I spent on this stuff, golden.
Yeah, so I mean, currently how Sam and I do it right now is we have income from rentals, and other business dealings, that all goes straight to investing, 100%. And then we have our normal income, 10% from each of our income. Every payday goes to savings for investing, and 10% for me goes to car fund or guns, and 10% Sam takes for whatever she does, Legos and shit. And that's how we got it. That's how we do it. And I think, I know if you don't set these things up in your life, you won't do them. You have to be conscious about this stuff forever. You have to be diligent at every single paycheck. When you get your paycheck in, as soon as our paycheck hits, we are calculating out and transferring the money.
It's actually honestly before it hits, because we usually have extra money in the account. So when I scan to deposit them, then I do the money right away. It's instant.
I just feel like if you're not doing that, dude, we're really setting ourselves up for failure.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and you have to do this once all your debts are paid off. Because Shaun and I were doing this before we paid off our debts, and we're just like, this is just so stupid. Like, we're saving this money for investing, but yet we're losing
7% on a car payment.
Yeah. So it's just so dumb. So I mean, we took a chunk of money out of our investing fund to pay off our debts, just because we're like, our investing fund's gonna grow so much more now. But so you have to do it once your debts are paid off.
Right. Cool. What else you got?
I know in the past we've talked about good debt and bad debt. We'll just talk about that real quick.
Okay.
Be logical with your debts, honestly. And mortgages are usually good debts.
Better debts.
They're
not good, they're better.
Yeah. But it's very interesting because we've talked about Caleb Hammer on the show with Financial Audit, and he was on the Graham Stephan show, who does something very similar to what he does. And
Graham's been around for a lot longer.
A lot longer. So it's very interesting to watch like them kind of do things together, because Caleb is in a different mindset of much more like investing. Like, it's okay if I have this debt if I'm investing the money that I could have put towards this debt. But then it was interesting because like Graham would make certain points of like, okay, you're not spending this $15,000 on this furniture that you're renting at 0% or have a debt on for 0%. So then you can gain 4.5% in this high yield savings account,
which then gets taxed. So you're really only getting 2%,
right?
2.5%.
And the 0% financing was only for 6 months.
So then, like, how much are you actually making, and how much headache and time did you just waste going around about when you could have just paid for it right up front, not worry about a thing?
So it's thinking of things like that. Later on, he does talk about his student loan debt too. Graham says he should just pay it off, and Caleb's just like, well, it's only a 4% interest rate, so why would I pay it off? He's like, that's just minuscule amount of interest. But if you're making as much money as Caleb is, then you should just pay it off. Get it done with.
I think so, personally. I think a lot of people think, I think the wealthiest people think that way. What I've noticed from meeting wealthy people and like researching wealthy people over the years, the wealthiest dudes I know don't have debt.
Yeah.
Or have low debt.
Yeah.
And they don't try and do the whole fucking, get debt at 4% so I can invest at 8%. The majority of wealthy people don't do that. There are a few that do, but the majority don't.
Go ahead.
But I've noticed so many younger guys, or like guys on the come up, or guys newer into like wealth building and business, they always do that. They're always like, debt, leverage, let's take out a loan on this so I can get better, keep more money in my account, get an 8% return on this and whatever. And so I'm making that, essentially a 2% spread and all this. And I think what it becomes is it's so much like mental jujitsu, so much like financial jujitsu, that it's like if you just paid the shit off and didn't think about it and took that bandwidth into increasing your income,
Yeah.
Dog.
Yeah.
You're way, way farther ahead if you quit trying to do all these fucking hula hoops and just go, how do I double my money? How do I double my income? How do I double my money?
I will say he is in like the right mindset of like making his money work for him more.
Yeah.
Just because he is like at least thinking about like, okay, well, I didn't pay off my student loans because I took that $30,000 to put as a down payment on an investment or something.
Right.
That isn't what he did, but I think that would be something where it could be like, okay, like that's not terrible as long as you're getting more than,
right.
Like if it's a really good investment, then it's like, okay, yeah, I could see that.
Right. Yeah. There are things. I will say to almost everything there are
Caveats. Always.
But for the most part and for the general population, it's not a thing.
No. I mean, you got to think. Yeah, it's just not. You just need to. Everyone needs to start paying off their debts.
Yeah.
Little hint in case you don't know this, do the snowball effect. So start putting
Dave Ramsey snowball effect.
Yeah, so start putting all your extra money towards the thing with the highest interest rate.
Nope. The lowest price.
That's right. He does it that way. Who does it the other way?
Like every other person in the world.
I was gonna say a lot of people do the highest interest rate first, so you pay that one off faster. But yeah, Dave Ramsey does the smallest debt first.
Yeah, so you pay. Say you have $500 a month.
Mm-hmm.
You just pay your minimums on everything. You can either Dave Ramsey style is take the lowest number, but the other way is take the highest interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I like the lowest number, and the reason Dave Ramsey does too, is you get these little wins and you're deleting them along the way, and then you get to the big boss.
Yeah.
And then you pay the big boss down. And you just continue to, so you only pay the minimums, and then you pay $500 a month on that on the first one until it's done. Then you rolled into the next one, and you're paying the minimum from that plus the $500 onto the next one.
Yeah.
Then when that's paid off, you're paying the minimum of those two plus the $500 on the next one. And you just keep rolling that until you knock it all off. And then when you get all those paid off, you look at what you have, and you take all that money. So you got your say you had 5 debts. So you had 5 debts, you take your 5 minimum payments plus your $500, and you just start rolling that into investing and savings. Mm-hmm. It's snowball.
And it just goes so fast once you get there.
Right.
There's even like times when Shaun and I have looked at how much money we're spending on just, I mean, we don't do a whole lot of streaming services, but I mean, we still have Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Kindle Unlimited. We did have Audible, but Shaun got rid of that for now.
And you have Pandora.
And I have Pandora. In between all those, I mean, I guess Amazon comes out yearly. But, I mean, for the most part, it's like $100 a month now in just subscriptions.
Right.
It is ridiculous.
Yep. I got 99 cents coming out from my Apple iCloud, and I can't access that cocksucker.
Well, I don't know how, because we deleted that account.
No, because so I have an Apple iCloud still that has like pictures and shit from when I had an iPhone 10 years ago. But I can't access that email. I can't get into my iCloud. And so that 99 just comes out. I don't know how to.
You might have to call them and just be like.
I might be able to do that. Yeah, I could probably do that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I could just call me. But it's $1 a month, so I've never cared enough to do it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm always just like, yeah, it's just $1. I just not doing anything with it. So
that's wild.
Apple's been getting $1 from me for the last fucking 10 years, and I haven't used an Apple in 6 years.
Yeah, and then until like one day you get mad and they jump it up to like $5 or $10, and you're like, okay, this is bad.
That's the thing, dude. It's been 99 cents forever. If they increased it to like $10 to where it could then be worth my time, but at $1, I'm like, dude, the amount of time I'm gonna spend on the phone with them. That alone is going to be the fucking 10 years I paid the $1. Dude,
I still hate Apple. I'm sorry, are you Apple people? I hate them. I cannot get our podcast onto Apple Podcasts. It's so fucking dumb. It says like our Apple ID is invalid or we need payment on there.
Sure.
So I put a payment on there, and then it's still just like, nope, you need to do all these verification things. And there's supposed to be some pop-up of something I need to agree to, but it won't pop up.
Interesting.
So our podcast just will never be on Apple Podcasts, and I'm okay with that because I hate Apple. Biggest schemy fucking company in the world. Anyways.
Interesting. I don't mind Apple.
They're the worst.
Why?
Why are they the worst?
Yeah.
Because they, people just get an iPhone because they're like, I'm so much better than everyone else because I have an iPhone. And then they decide to do this sneaky thing of just like, oh, we'll give you the phone now, but now you don't have any charging cables, you don't have any blocks, you don't have the headphone adapter, so you have to buy all those separate. So not only are you buying a $1,000 phone, then you have to buy, the $20 cord, the $20 block, $20 headphone adapter. But then it just doesn't end there, because then you have like their Macs or whatever, and they stopped putting CD drives in them. So then what if you have something that needs to, like, you have to download it off of a CD? Well, then you have to go buy the CD drive.
Babe. We don't got CD drives in our fucking HPs.
Yeah, because they're tablets, not a computer.
Just saying.
It's a big difference. The Macs are a fucking laptop computer.
Okay.
But anyways, so they just, prey on people that like big name things, and they have just...
So what I'm hearing is, it's not Apple that you don't like. It's the people that own Apple you don't like.
Oh, their products are kind of shitty. It's not like their phone is that much better.
You don't know if it is much better. I've had them both, and I prefer Samsung.
Yeah.
I've gone Samsung, iPhone, iPhone, and then I've been with Samsung ever since because I wanted to see which one was better. And after like 3 iterations, I was like, yeah, no, Samsung is definitely superior.
Yeah, I mean, how many iPhones did you get where you couldn't talk to people on the phone after like 4 months?
Everyone.
It was ridiculous.
Yep, everyone.
I had the first actual Samsung I bought was a Samsung S7 or Galaxy S7, and literally within the first week I broke the screen, and it stayed like that cracked the screen. It stayed like that for 2.5, 3 years.
Right.
And it worked perfectly fine.
Yep.
With it was just in the very bottom corner, but still it had that cracked screen for 2.5, 3 years, and it worked great.
Cool. So that was fun. I think then once you get this shit figured out and you are starting to, shape up your life.
Yeah.
Maybe you delete some streaming services, whatever, and you're looking, okay, I spend 5 hours a day on my phone or on watching TV or playing with my dinghy, whatever it is. And now you can put, I'm not going to tell you to not do any of it, but now you can put 4 of those 5 hours to better use. Mm-hmm. So what can you do with 4 hours a day? Learn new skills to increase your income potential.
Yeah.
Maybe get a part-time job, whatever it is. But if you really think about the time you're fucking off and you decide to do skill development with that instead to increase your income earning potential, now your rate at which you can save and get things and bucket save and all that increases exponentially, because it goes like this. Say you live on $2,000 a month. And you make $2,500 a month. Mm-hmm. But you have increased your skill set and earning potential to where you now make $4,000 a month.
Yeah.
Well, you still only live on $2,000. So now you're saving 3 times more than before, just purely off of just increasing your skill. Mm-hmm. So sure, why don't we then increase our standard of living by $500, and we're still saving 3 times what we were saving before.
Yeah.
We increased increase our standard of living.
Yeah. I would say never go backwards from where you started. So like if you want to go get a newer house, whatever, that's fine. But make sure you're not going below that saving $500 threshold.
I would highly recommend never to do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm just saying. We should throw that in there because someone, is going to be like, oh, well, now I make all this money, so now I can buy this house and only save $200 a month instead.
Right. Caveat I will say is if you had a terrible job that you hate and you find something you really like, but at the expense it goes, well, if I take this job, I'll only save $500 a month instead of $1,500 a month. Well, as long as you're still saving and going in the right direction, but you're a lot happier, then you could really consider that.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, sick. That's what I got. Guys, go save some fucking money and get some shit you want to get.
Dope.
Peace.
See you.